All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon and The Blackest Heart, both books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today, I'm going to be reviewing KUSHIEL'S Dart by Jacqueline Carey. Now, this is a book that came out in 2001, and I remember reading about the first third of it in 2001 when it came out and setting it aside. And at the time, I thought, man, that was some gorgeous writing, but maybe I wasn't in the mood. So I saw these on the bookstore shelf the other day, so I thought, hell, I'll get them and I'll try them again. And I'm glad that I did. I'm glad I gave this a second go, because this is just an exquisitely, beautifully written story. I mean, oh my God, the prose is gorgeous, just gorgeous. But before we get to the book itself and the gorgeous writing, let's talk about the gorgeous cover, because this is back in 2001 when this came out. This cover was what got me to originally look at the book, and it's an illustration by John Jude Palancar. Now, he did the covers for the other two also, and we'll look at those also. But it's just such a striking cover. And if I was to ever do my top 50 book covers of all time, I think this would probably make it somewhere in there. I just love everything about the design of this little paperback. And the thing that's cool about it is you put it with the other books, and they all three look like they belong together. And we'll hold them up closer so you can see. You know, they all three have our main character, just gorgeous John Jude Palancar covers. And then when we put them all together like this, they look like a wonderful trilogy on our shelf. So, gotta give an A+ for that. A+. A++. This is just dynamite. And some of the clues actually from the book are actually hidden on this cover. We'll talk about that. So, the book, and it's got a wonderful map. The world is sort of like an alternate Europe, where we've got Ireland and England and then France and Germany and all that. But they're named different, things like Erie and Alba and Aragonia, Scaldea. What great names, by the way. These are some well thought out names. And that's another thing that Jacqueline Carey does, is every character's got a name that's just delicious to read on the page. It just flows like French wine across the page, these words and these names, the character names, and I love them so much. Speaking of which, let's talk about our main character, Phaedre No Delane, who is a young girl represented in this cover. Wonderful representation. She is given away this is a coming-of-age tale. A very strange coming-of-age tale. I will say, this is an erotica / fantasy. This is what I'm getting from this book. And I may be wrong. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong. This is a very odd coming-of-age in that our main character, Phaedre, is given away by her mother at a young age to learn how to become a courtesan. And she learns religion and the history of her world at the foot of this priest that she really adores. And one of the things is this priest sort of teaches her for the first little while about the world she lives in, the religions and the political factions and everything that's kind of going on. And the priest does that in such a way that it's just very entertaining. Not only that, but Jacqueline Carey's writing is so fluid and fantastic that you want to read it. And that's the thing, is when I originally bought this in 2001, one of the things that I remembered about it was the writing was super good. And now I was in the mood for this. Now I was in the mood to read this type of book. And so I was just like hanging on every word and loving the world building that takes place between this priest and this young girl as he teaches her. But she does have to become this courtesan. Not only is she training to be this courtesan, how to please men sexually, but she's also learning how to become a spy. And it really reminded me of that thriller that was written by, I think it was, what was that guy's name? The Red Sparrow by, I've got it over here. Anyway, I should have come prepared, but this is the one I'm talking about. Red Sparrow by Jason Matthews. Maybe you saw the movie with Jennifer Lawrence, where she trains in Russia to be a Red Sparrow, which is sort of a courtesan, sort of a spy slash assassin slash prostitute. I mean, that's kind of what we're getting with Kushiel. That's sort of, it's the red, she has just been inducted into the Red Sparrow program of this fantasy world. That's the best way to say it. Anyway, by the way, this is the sexiest book I've ever read. Bar none, bar none. I mean, Outlander had some stuff, but this was like sexy. This is like, I want HBO to make a mini-series of this. I absolutely do, and I want them to hire the most beautiful actors and actresses that have ever set foot in front of a camera. I want that. Just reading this, I'm like, I really would love to see this. Just because, not just because of the erotica. It's part of it. But just because the world that Jacqueline Carey has created is so luscious. And every word that she used to describe it, I mean, I haven't read such great prose describing a world since Tad Williams. And Tad Williams really describes his world as like, parts of it are beautiful, but it's like brutal too. And it's grim. But this just, it feels like you're watching Dr. Zhivago. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Just how beautiful that movie was, Dr. Zhivago, with just all the set pieces and all the great ballrooms and luscious palaces that they would visit. And then even if they weren't in a palace, even if they were in a forest, the forest just looks beautiful. I mean, this book is about just everything being spot on beautiful. And so this is, okay, so we've got off on a tangent. This tattoo, you see this mark here? Well, it's also represented on her back. It's a tattoo. And this tattoo gets slowly put on her back over time. When the tattoo is finished, she will know that her time as a courtesan is over and she can be free of this work. But as she's working as a courtesan, her master does send her to different clients, and he's like, you have to not only do the nasty with these clients, but you've got to figure out, stuff. And he doesn't really tell her, this is what you need to look for. Maybe if they say this, he just sends her out and says, when you come back, tell me what they say. And so she does that, but she can tell that her master's sort of piecing together different things and stuff like this, but it's all political intrigue that gets it's a slow burn, but towards the end, there's a lot of action. I don't want people to think that there's not a lot of action in this, because there's some bloody betrayals and some murders and some skullduggery and some floggings and a lot of adventure the second half of this book is filled with that. And I loved it. I was just riveted. I was absolutely riveted. I was just drinking in every page. I'm so glad that I decided to give this a second chance. I hope I've sold you on it. This is a super wonderfully built world, beautifully built world, with great characters. I loved Phaedra and all the people that she ran across, and she's got sort of a side love interest, and there's some, anyway, that's really all I want to say about it. I'm going to give this a 9.5 out of 10, and I can't wait to see where Jacqueline Carey takes me in book 3, and also in book 2. It's just a wonderful world to, read about for a few afternoons. Thank you very much.